Did you know where the inspirational Nike tagline, "Just Do It," comes from? It actually originated from an American criminal, Gary Gilmore's final words before his execution in 1977. So a small venture starting with just two men with a criminal's quote as its tagline achieved unparalleled success in sportswear and lifestyle, boasting a revenue of $160.36 billion, now beating Adidas, Reebok, and other sportswear companies. Nike's swoosh logo, athlete endorsements like Michael Jordan, superior design, Air Flyknit tech, and global reach bolstered dominance. Digital Shift embraced e-commerce personalization. Addressing social, environmental issues, Nike pursued sustainability. Despite controversies, Nike's agile revolution and cultural resonance cemented its status as a premier global brand, embodying both financial achievement and cultural influence in the competitive worlds of fashion and athletics. But how did Nike make it this far? What made them so special, so influential worldwide? To understand this, let's check out the history of Nike and its roots. At first, Nike wasn't even called Nike. It was started by two people, Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight. Bill was a coach, and Phil was his student. They began in 1964 and named their company Blue Ribbon Sports. Phil went to Japan and got inspired by how the Japanese were doing things differently in the camera industry. The first shoes they sold were called Tigers, but they didn't have the famous Nike swoosh yet. In 1971, Phil and Bill decided to do things on their own and not work with the Japanese anymore. That same year, the iconic Nike swoosh logo was designed by student Carolyn Davidson for $35, which is equivalent to $200 today. Initially uncertain, Nike founder Phil Knight later appreciated its value. In 1983, Knight gifted Davidson a diamond-embedded swoosh ring and undisclosed NKE stock as gratitude for the logo's worldwide fame. They decided to call their company Nike, which comes from a Greek goddess named Nike who represents victory. In 1980, Nike became a public company, which was a big change. This was the year they became more popular than their competitor Adidas in the US and started making more than just track shoes. In 1982, they made basketball shoes called Air Force One with special air technology to make people feel like they could jump higher. In 1986, Nike made more than $1 billion in sales for the first time. They also started making shoes for other sports like golf. However, another brand called Reebok became very popular and briefly became more famous than Nike in 1987. Reebok was later bought by Adidas. Even so, Nike came back on top in 1989 after a successful ad campaign with the "Just Do It" slogan. Famous US ad man Dan Whedon, inspired by this quote from Gary Gilmore, launched the "Just Do It" campaign in 1988, helping Nike boost its North American market share significantly over the next decade. In 1989, Nike moved its main office to Oregon, and in 1990, they opened their first store called Niketown. Over the years, Nike bought other companies like Cole Haan, Hurley, and Converse, and even some tech companies to help them sell online better. During the 1980s and 1990s, Nike became famous for making cool new sneakers, especially under the Jordan brand. By 2003, they were selling more shoes outside of the US than inside, showing they were a big global company. They also opened big stores in places like Tokyo and Shanghai. In 2018, Nike made more than $35 billion all around the world, and they thought they might make around $50 billion by the early 2020s. But Nike has some problems going forward. In 1985, Nike introduced the first sneakers named after Michael Jordan. During that time, Jordan was just starting his career, and Nike was having trouble selling basketball shoes. To make a big move, Nike made a deal with a new basketball player, which turned out to be a good choice. The first Air Jordans were so special that the NBA initially said players couldn't wear them in games. Nike turned this problem into a way to advertise the shoes with a famous TV ad called Air Jordan in 1985. They said that the NBA couldn't stop people from wearing the shoes. The Air Jordan 1s cost $65 when they came out in March 1985. They had made $70 million by May of that year. By the end of 1985, all Air Jordan shoes together had made more than $100 million. This was amazing because Nike was still a new brand, and hip-hop culture was getting popular in the US. Nike saw a chance to sell Jordans not only as sports shoes, but also as fashion for rappers and artists. Some sneaker fans think this was when the sneakerhead movement really started. Other big companies like Reebok, New Balance, and Adidas also sold similar shoes. To make the shoes seem special, Nike didn't make a lot of them, so people had to wait in line to buy them. In the early 1990s, there were even violent incidents like murders because people wanted the Jordan shoes so much. Even after Michael Jordan stopped playing basketball, his brand was still a big deal for Nike. By the end of 2018, the Jordan brand made up about 9.5% of Nike's sales. But in 2018, sales went down 8% compared to 2017. To make things better, Nike decided to change the Jordan shoes for women to try to make more money. They also wanted to get more kids interested. Nike used ads to help them succeed. These ads sometimes caused arguments, had famous people supporting the brand, and said strong things about the brand and its customers. Nike has a strong legacy of making persuasive ads that often help them sell more stuff. Like in 1993, they had an ad with Charles Barkley saying he's not a role model, which made people argue about whether famous people should be responsible for setting good examples. Then, in 1995, they had an ad with Rick Munoz, who had HIV and was openly gay. Some people didn't like it, but it didn't hurt Nike's sales. Actually, after the Barkley ad, their sales went up by 15.4%. And after the Munoz ad, they went up by 36%. But Nike doesn't just get noticed for its ads. Sometimes they made headlines by getting involved in controversies as well. Some of the athletes they supported got into trouble. People like Maria Sharapova and Lance Armstrong were connected to drugs that helped them perform better. Nike stopped working with them, but it didn't hurt how much Nike sold. Golfer Tiger Woods also got into trouble for things like cheating on his spouse and getting caught driving drunk, but Nike still supported him. This turned out to be a good choice because he won a big golf tournament in 2019, which helped both him and Nike make more money. Nike is a big deal in sports. They make the uniforms for baseball, football, and basketball players in the US. They even took over from Adidas as the ones making clothes for NBA players, which was a really big deal. NFL football players will wear the Nike swoosh logo until 2028, following an extension of their partnership in 2018. Nike supplies game day gear and attire for players and sidelines. Adidas has maintained a significant role in soccer, partnering with MLS since its inception in 1996. An exclusive agreement in 2004 made Adidas the outfitter for all MLS teams, which was extended in 2017 until 2024. Nike's stronghold in sneakers and athletic apparel persists despite competition. It has topped the industry since the 1980s, overtaking Adidas. With a 33% market share, Nike leads US athletic footwear sales, followed by Adidas. It also leads in activewear, trailed by Under Armour. Nike's influence extends to athleisure wear as well. Now it's your turn. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Has Nike's story motivated you to chase your dreams with unwavering determination? How do you envision the future landscape of sportswear? If you're as fueled by aspiration as Nike has been, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more insightful content. Remember, greatness awaits those who push the boundaries. Don't overthink it, just do it.